thinking that using the melody from Pure Imagination to stroke my genostalgia would keep me from noticing you spent 50 seconds exposing your 4 different logos.
At this point, I feel like you're still doing this just to annoy us.
A ship on the sea, a man singing a song. I'm having Prince Eric flashback so hard I half expect to see a woolly dog and a stalking mermaid.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Despite not putting any singing in the previews, the movie starts immediately with a song, and the amount of people who immediately turned and said, "Why the f*** is the kid from Love the Coopers singing right now?" is certainly worth a sit.
This is literally the 3rd sin, and already we've come across something extremely dumb. You know this is a prequel to Willy Wonka, right? Which was a musical? You even brought up Pure Imagination in the very first sin. I could understand this complaint if this was related to the Tim Burton film in any way, but it's not. This is like complaining that Mary Poppins Returns is a musical.
Okay, but why is this guy in the engine room just holding Wonka's coat like that's part of his job description? And who threw his suitcase to him? Is this kid so loved that everyone on the ship covets holding his belongings?
No, they probably just grabbed his coat and suitcase after Willie yelled, "Land ahoy." Since he's their passenger, they're probably just doing their job.
This kid spends precious coins on a map that shows restaurants he cannot afford to eat in.
Narration.
Jokering on a staircase covered in ice and snow like you have zero regard for your coccyx.
Wait, didn't you sin the original Willy Wonka? How did you not get that this was a callback to Wonka doing this in that movie as well? And it was while he was singing Pure Imagination, a song you literally mentioned.
Not promoting that your movie stars a fucking shape-shifting dragon. This movie hid all its best features.
How did you conclude that Willy has this supernatural power instead of that he designed this candle to work this way?
By this time tomorrow, you'll be frozen solid.
The dude just pulled a boiling pot of hot chocolate out of his hat of holding, sir. I think he will be just fine.
Wow, not even 2 minutes in, and we've already come across our first scene manipulation of the day. Literally, right after Bleacher says this, the hot chocolate immediately freezes, which proves his point.
By this time tomorrow, you'll be frozen solid.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Ooh. Perhaps it is a little cold for camping.
Welcome to Scrubbit and Bleacher's Guest House and Laundry.
So if your names are Scrubbit and Bleacher, does that just doom you to a life of running a laundromat? Or do movies just think they can name characters whatever they want? I mean, I had a dentist named Dr. Fear, but he didn't have a partner named Dr. Drillit, so I think my point still stands.
Considering the original film had a kid that was literally named Mike TV, I feel like this is on brand for this universe.
I understand the movie wants me to know without a doubt that Scrubbit and Bleacher are villains, but murderous villains? What could they gain from killing a kid off the street? Even if Wonka read the contract, that wouldn't immediately mean their operations were ending.
If Willy could read and he understood what the contract said, then he would have most assuredly left and probably even tell everyone he talks to about this place. Scrubbit wouldn't want to risk her business going under.
Here we go, Mama.
That is a chocolate bar, William.
We're really doing this, huh? You could have made this video a lot shorter and pointed out actual problems with it, but no, this video had to be almost 20 minutes long.
My name is Willy Wonka, and I have come to show you a marvelous morsel, an incredible edible, an unbeatable eatable.
Reminding me that I should have probably had my own incredible edible to actually enjoy this insanity.
Well, I enjoyed it, so there.
Each of the 3 chocolate villains somehow both hear what's going on in the street and just happen to be in their office so they can all simultaneously come to the window for their big introductions.
Yeah, let's just ignore the crowd of people that they probably noticed and wonder what they were watching.
Everyone is really impressed with this chocolate floating magical stuff. Is magic normal in this world? Why is no one screaming about this being an act of the devil?
Pretty sure that's not how people react to magicians.
Well, who wants to try one?
The song this total stranger sang described a bug that laid an egg inside chocolate, and no one seemed to remember that. They are all far too happy to eat this thing.
I mean, it's still chocolate, and they just saw it float.
And caramel, but it's salted.
You salt with sweet freaks have been poisoning food since my buddy Tommy Tethers dipped a french fry in his Wendy's Frosty after a Little League game in 1987. And now I can't bite into a piece of chocolate without making sure it hasn't been dipped in ocean water first, you monsters.
Pretty sure that ain't a sin of Wonka, dude.
Hook 'em, boys!
Equipping your police force with floating people hooks as if that's something you regularly have to deal with.
You mean the hook that they took from this guy?
One moment of stupidity followed by endless regret.
Hey, that's how my YouTube channel started.
Do you have endless regrets? I weirdly have a hard time believing that.
The movie never explains why this laundromat has this much business and is completely run on slave labor, but its owners still appear to be living in squalor.
Doesn't matter? because this movie is called Wonka and accordingly should focus on him, not Miss Scrubbit's business.
When this movie is a classic 30 years from now, I'm guessing it's the laundry montage song that people will remember most.
Well, according to Spotify, Pure Imagination is the song people listen to most. But since this isn't an original song, and neither is Oompa Loompa, which is number 2, the third most listened to song is A World of Your Own. In fact, I even ranked all the songs according to popularity, and Scrub Scrub is at number 7. Might want to do your research next time.
Told you to read the small print.
Urchins with a bad case of the told you so's.
Wait, the phrase told you so is a sin? Why?
I focus my studies almost exclusively on chocolate.
And sailing. Don't forget about all that time surviving on the ocean. Or did chocolate magically get you through the 7 years on the 7 seas?
Are you suggesting Willie was captain of that ship? Did you even see the actual captain in that scene?
Everything else, I've relied on the kindness of strangers.
Moochers.
The greedy beat the needy every time, Mr. Wonka.
The movie will eventually pretend that this isn't true.
Wouldn't this be proving her wrong since they win the day by the end?
I have a selection of the world's finest ingredients right here in my travel factory.
That is apparently somehow battery powered. And yes, I know it does all sorts of magical things, but my phone in 2024 won't last more than 6 hours. So I'm a bit distracted by the magical chocolate factory in a box that has built-in mood lighting like it was designed by a Twitch streamer with too much time on their hands.
You just said it. It's magic. That whole thing about your phone is completely unrelated to this.
We lived on the river, just the two of us.
If the movie is about to give us a backstory to the nightmare-inducing boat ride from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, they can go right on and off down Veruca's garbage chute. Nothing will make that okay, ever. Fucking worms on a goddamn carcass. And that poor decapitated chicken, Jesus. Gotta call my counselor now, for fuck's sake.
Ignoring for the moment that this movie doesn't explain that, this proves that you've seen the original film. And yet, at the beginning of this video, you seem to have forgotten some details about it.
Having a built-in flashback exposition device in your magic-powered chocolate suitcase. Also, who even took these pictures? And did they know they were creating a flipbook? It's like this movie doesn't even care about existing in the real world.
I would have let this scene slide, but then you said this movie doesn't care about existing in the real world. I seriously can't believe some people believe CinemaSins makes valid critiques, because this demonstrates how they watch movies. They seem to always expect movies to adhere to real-world rules, even though movies aren't real. This same film literally had floating chocolates, and you never question how that's possible. That's called suspending your disbelief, and that is required to enjoy movies. I honestly feel like this one sin should take away all your credibility.
Is that all it is? Just a dream?
Oh, I see what's happening here. We are either already inside of Wonka's daydreaming, or he and his mother got sick and died, and this movie is his brain's final tailspin fantasy before death. Now the magic makes sense.
Addressing those dumb, it was all a dream fan theories.
I'll be right there beside you. I think you promise.
Parent promises to be alive and positively influence the child's life, only to die before that becomes possible, thereby creating a perpetual cycle of trauma cliche.
Well, I still felt the emotions, so this isn't a cliche.
My mom once promised that when I shared chocolate with the world, she'd be right there beside me.
Breaking your promises. Oh, I know the silly loopholes the movie will play at the end to make this promise come true, but didn't Wonka already share his chocolate with those people he made float? Don't try and out-loophole me, movie. Your loophole has a hole in its center. It's not a loophole at all, but a smaller loop with its own hole, and your loop is not whole at all.
Yes, but in that scene, some cops arrived and took Willie's chocolate away, ruining his chance to sell it and make people happy. That would not have been a good time for his mom to show up.
Here, try one.
Why would anyone eat anything coming out of a strange guy's wooden crate outfitted with sketchy paraphernalia and a super sad dead parent slideshow?
Because she's never had chocolate before? I mean, if my parents prevented me from having candy and then I'd get a chance to finally eat it, I'm not hesitating.
It's a great idea.
But it'll never work.
Of course it will. Eat your chocolate.
So the chocolate Willie gave her is sparking a silver lining idea in her mind about how to get him out of here. And if that's the case, then Wonka basically drugged Noodles for his own gain. And is he the villain in the story now?
Well, considering the original movie never confirmed that those kids made it out alive.
I got an idea.
Is it to go back in time and return the chocolate you just stole from Noodle, you bastard?
No, he obviously took another chocolate from his machine.
You get your goddamn green shoes off the sofa, you hysterical heathen. That is leather.
Have I mentioned the length of this video already?
Why am I singing? Probably because you want me to be frustrated that this movie doesn't exist in the Schmigadoon extended universe.
Arbitrary movie reference.
She'll be thankful for an ankle.
Yes.
And pleased to see your knees.
Right.
But if you want to make her sigh,
Tell me.
show her some thigh.
Movie doesn't explain what to do if I want her to know my species and genus.
Jeremy says boner.
Can't believe it worked.
Fair point, Noodles. This works.
And why shouldn't it have? If you actually watched the movie, you would have seen how it did work. The fact that you didn't show it and try to explain why it shouldn't have worked is incredibly lazy.
They're not gonna let you just walk in there and milk it.
Funny, that's the same thing my college girlfriend told me when we went to a dairy farm. Stop making everything dirty, you pervs.
Just send the lame joke.
That's the thing about flamingos. They need someone to show them the way.
That is not, in any case, the thing about flamingos.
But these are fictional flamingos. Do you get it yet?
Good evening, Miss.
Abigail.
And what if it were a male giraffe? Movie, what then? With your custard filled
Skip.
You wanna give it a go, Noodle?
Wonka means for Noodle to scritchy scratch the chin of the giraffe, but is also here to milk the giraffe. And you'd think that he'd be more specific about what Noodle is meant to do so she doesn't grab a teat without proper training.
Noodle doesn't have to worry about that though, because Willie will milk Abigail. Oh my gosh. Try saying that 3 times fast. Noodle doesn't have to worry about that though, because Willie will milk Abigail while Noodle scratches her chin, basically distracting her.
Nothing rhymes in Noodle.
Denying the existence of my doodle of a feudal poodle canoodling with a strudel. Don't you judge me.
I obviously can't play the song for you, but I'll read the lyrics of For a Moment, because in that song, Willie finally figures out what rhymes with noodle. Noodle, noodle, apple, strudel. Some people don't, and some people doodle. Snakes, flamingos, bears, and poodles. Singing this song will improve your moodle. Noodle dee dee, noodle dee dum. We're having oodles and oodles of fun.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, go on.
Exchanging any form of conversation and direct eye contact while milking a goddamn giraffe. Your hands are on its teats, man. Focus on the task ahead and let's wrap up this extremely odd memory that we all share now.
But since you see that Willie is milking the giraffe and not Noodle, shouldn't you have deleted that previous sin?
I guess the flamingos were inspired to fly away because of 2 humans and balloons, and that is dumb.
These flamingos aren't real.
Also, it's pretty clear that these 2 death-wishy children are traveling via strained arm socket and helium all the way to the dome in the distance. How did they manage to make it all the way there without floating too low or sailing too high? No one cares but me, apparently. Okay, maybe you care too. We snarks have to stick together. You can sit by me and watch the rest of the movie if you are quiet. To be clear, I can talk. You can't. Okay, don't reply. That would break my rule. And do not crunch your popcorn so loudly.
Well, I'm gonna talk anyway, because these balloons being able to carry them like this is literally impossible. So them being able to float all the way here is in the same vein of being magical and something you're not supposed to question. And again, you never questioned how those hover chalks were flying, so why is this the stupidest thing to you?
Chief, you know that fella you wanted a word with?
I just happened to see him so we could move the plot along. Peace, boys.
That terrible British accent.
But that's not the point.
This is the point.
Not now, Larry.
Look, Abacus, Larry is just offering a comedic take on what you said by taking it literally and feigning obliviousness to what you really meant. It's called comedy. If you don't think it's funny, fine, but lay off the guy a bit, okay? Justice for CinemaSins! I mean, justice for Larry!
Judging by your view count lately, yeah, I don't think that's happening.
It's an A. Your first letter. I'm teaching you to read.
Teaching someone to read a letter at a time via zipline.
Narration.
Will you marry me?
I don't know, Colin.
Aw, Colin and Barbara might not get married, but also, who the f are Colin and Barbara? And why am I meeting them an hour into this movie?
They weren't important until now, so Willie can start his next song. Are you suggesting we should have been introduced to these people at the beginning, even though they have nothing to do with the plot?
Wonka is now distributing untested pharmaceuticals that make you grow hair, gain confidence, and dance like you're in a Broadway show. And I do not believe I'm overreacting when I say this man should be arrested and executed immediately.
How do you know this chocolate wasn't tested? You literally have no proof to back that up.
There are a lot of kicking people in this scene, and it makes me think about all the talented people out there, unlike these 2. And that makes me wonder if this day on set they just casually mentioned to the 2 waiter extras that they'd be in a dance number and no one bothered to find out if they had rhythm or experience. This woman can listen to her ankles, she's dancing so high. This guy pulled all of his groin out for this kick. This guy gets a pass, he's old. But these 2? Totally out of rhythm and just hopping around like it doesn't matter. This man cannot have children anymore, and these 2 can't be bothered to do more than hop.
Hey, look at that, a real sin. Well, I think this went on a little too long. I haven't removed this sin in a while, so I'll go ahead and do it here. Good job, CinemaSins.
During this Oompa Loompa song, Luffy will bend over and fart with the smoke coming out of his Oompa hole, transitioning the scene to exposition. And sometimes I'm really glad 4D theaters never really caught on.
His name is Lofty, dude.
You know that shop? The one you've been dreaming of?
purchasing someone's dream shop before they do.
Have you never gotten a birthday Christmas present that was wrapped? It was just given to you as is?
But it's gonna cost you a lot more chocolate.
This whole police chief eats a bunch of chocolate and gets very fat, and oh, isn't it funny when fat people fall down and can't fit through doors and storyline is very, very bad.
Well, my theater was laughing when they saw this, so that's just your opinion.
Here we go, Mama.
Baz Luhrmann's Wonka Elvis.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Clouds are made of cotton candy and not chocolate? What is this?
How do you not understand that cotton candy looks like pink clouds? Wonka doesn't just sell chocolate, you know. Remember the everlasting gobstopper?
Eating the store components and drinking milk from the giant chocolate cows sounds like fun on day 1 at Wonka's. But by day 37, I'm highly doubting there are enough guidelines in existence that would keep this entire place from being one big bowl of chocolate listeria.
Says there's milk coming out of this cow while showing chocolate coming out of it.
It appears that the chocolates have been poisoned.
Poisoned? Poisoned?
I am with you, patrons. Poisoned? That seems extreme. Altered, temporarily enhanced, or maybe even tampered with would be better, but poisoned should be saved for moments when everyone here may die. And maybe they will, but the movie does not show us the body count, so pick a lane, movie. Are we killing children or not?
Are you telling me during conversation you've never said a word and then realized you should have used a different word? This is a human flaw.
They keep that ledger in a vault.
Guarded by a corrupt cleric.
And 500 chocoholic monks.
All of these idiots are precariously perched on the piss-poor pine of the pigeon poopy pen to pander over plans to prevail against the persistent perpetrators. Get down from there and talk in the streets like civilized people.
Well, that last sentence ruined the alliteration you were doing there.
I need the zoo. It's an emergency.
Putting through to the escaped animal department now.
But he never said it was an escaped animal, Lottie. Are you trying to ruin everything?
What else could that imply? Why else would somebody call a zoo if they're not already there?
Nothing about this flamingo fiasco seems to be on purpose. So the movie is telling me that the flamingos aided in saving the day all on their own? I send flamingos!
They didn't, though? You clearly showed Slugworth driving past them, which is a problem later.
What are we gonna do, Willie?
If Noodle and Wonka strange brew themselves out of the situation by eating all the chocolate, I'm giving back all the sins.
No, you want to have.
Deep breath now.
Forcing me to spend the next scenes holding my breath because I want to see if I could survive this particular scenario. Honestly, this one isn't too bad, but holding your breath in the abyss when they swim to the next hatch, that sucked. So here's another sin for reminding me about my limited lung capacity.
That would be a sin for the abyss, not Wonka.
This asshole who just casually erases Wonka's ghost mom.
Sinning this scene.
Thinking you hadn't humiliated him enough during the movie, so you gave him the job of introducing your end credit character epilogues that you should have just put in the damn movie.
But wouldn't you have sinned the movie for having too many endings like you did with Return of the King? Not to mention, if we get another excuse to listen to an Oompa Loompa song, I'll take it.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Gallery Gourmet, my name is Willy Wonka, and I have come to show you a marvelous morsel, an incredible edible, an unbeatable eatable, the likes of which this world has never seen. So quiet up and listen down. Nope, scratch that, reverse it. I give to you the hover chocolate.